Story 1: Artificial Intelligence, AI. In recent years, with the rapidly advancing pace of technology, a remarkable innovation has emerged. That is, artificial intelligence, AI. Artificial intelligence involves the construction of computers and machines capable of reasoning, learning, and taking action within the realm of human intelligence. This kind of reasoning, learning, and action typically revolve around human-like intelligence and can extend to data scales beyond human analytical capacity. Artificial intelligence is a broad field that spans many different subject areas, including computer science, data analysis and statistics, hardware and software engineering, linguistics, neurology, and even philosophy and psychology. In recent years, as AI programs have become more sophisticated, artificial intelligence has gradually been embraced into people's lives. I am a YouTuber. The main content was focused on stories related to paranormal exploration. There are still many things that encompass unexplained phenomena beyond the reach of science, and there is a huge attraction and traffic. However, as an atheist, I don't believe in supernatural stories, but I respect everyone's worship of their own beliefs. As we all know, YouTubers usually upload videos at least once a week in order to maintain popularity and traffic, and I am no exception. However, how could there be so many supernatural fragments? In order to gain traffic, our team had to resort to some fabrication. After all, it is a paranormal exploration channel. If the channel is without any unique content, it would be a dull ghost hunting program. However, this episode is about the combination of artificial intelligence and spirit detection activities. As the host of this YouTube channel, I held my phone and said, "Hey little buddy, take me to a place with souls." Dong dong! I'm sorry, I don't understand what you are talking about. The artificial intelligence's response was within my expectations, but it still made me feel a little disappointed. If an artificial intelligence without a special response, it would prevent me broadcasting this episode. I am unwilling to give up so easily. I persisted and asked multiple times until... Dong dong, I'll take you there. After the voice of the AI ended, the map on my phone was opened and there was a mark indicating a location. I thought, great, this episode finally has some material. My team and I drove to the location marked by the AI. After about an hour and a half, we arrived at a desolate place. Due to the pitch-black darkness and the absence of any street lights, we had to use the flashlights on our phones to illuminate every step ahead. As we looked at the standing gravestones, we began to suspect whether we were taken to the graveyard by artificial intelligence. We randomly approached one gravestone and examined the inscriptions carefully. A portrait of a person appeared in front of me suddenly. At this moment, everyone's expressions were all frightened. As an atheist, I decided to strike while the iron was hot. I asked the artificial intelligence, "Hey, little buddy, are there any ghosts nearby?" And this time, the artificial intelligence responded immediately after listening to the question and said, "Dong dong, yes." After a brief silence, I threw out the second question. "So, what is its name?" The AI promptly answered again, "Dong dong xiao hui, lin xiao hui." I started to doubt the AI's responses and asked again, "Is she a girl? Does she have anything to say?" While I posed the question, my team motioned for me to look at the tombstone. However, I did not want to give them any response, as the AI's answers perplexed me even more. "Dong dong. Yes, she said she wanted to go home with you." At that moment, everyone's reactions were a mix of shock and fear. They had to keep a certain distance from me, and I felt confused. Only one of them once again made me pay attention to the tombstone next to me. The three words Lin, Xiao, and Hui suddenly appeared in front of me. I took a half step back and looked at the tombstone in disbelief. In the midst of my shock, the team urged us to retreat quickly. As I tried to move my feet, I realized that I was too frightened to budge. My team just dragged me away quickly, and we get a chance to catch our breath until we got in the car. The team continuously discussed what had just happened, but I was too scared to recall it. Our team's driver noticed that someone who was in the back seat of the van was blocking his view in the rear view mirror and said, "Hey, the person in the last row, you're blocking my view." The other team members and I looked at each other in shock. Everyone looked at the driver. He appeared bewildered when he realized our gaze. The co-driver leaned in and whispered to the driver, "There's no one in the last row." The driver looked back in disbelief, as if he was the only one who could see the black figure. I don't know why I took out my phone unconsciously and asked, "Hey, little buddy." My smartphone responded, "Dong dong, here it is." I asked cautiously, "Is that Lin Xiaohui at the back?" My smartphone replied promptly again, "Dong dong, yes." Everyone present exchanged bewildered glances and remained silent in tacit agreement. I couldn't believe that everything the smartphone's responses are so consistent with reality. I don't know why, but the phrase, "Dong dong, yes, she said she wants to go home with you." This sentence is like an old radio playing continuously. It's replayed in my mind. After that day, people in the team either had an unfortunate accidents or got serious illnesses, and I also began living in constant suspicion. Story 2: Mysterious Trip. This was the first trip I'd taken as an adult with my best friends. All of us were nature enthusiasts, so we decided to book a villa deep in the mountains. The villa belonged to Angel's aunt, which saved us a significant amount of travel expenses. At the same time, we were all envious of Angel for having such a connection. I was filled with anticipation for this trip. The diverse trees, the bright starry night view, and the docile and adorable animals were all reasons I longed for it. The day arrived while we were carefully planning. "Hey friends, let's go." One of my friends, Jack, drove his father's car and parked in front of my house. After I gave my parents a farewell hug and got into Jack's car excitedly. Along the way, laughter and conversation filled the air, and every conversation was about the yearning and arrangements for the villa. After all, it was deep in the mountains and forests, and the road was rough and bumpy, but in the end we arrived at our destination safely. When we arrived at Angel's aunt's house, it was already dusk approaching sunset. As my eyes scanned the surroundings, towering ancient trees stood like giants around the villa, giving me a slight sense of a little uneasiness and oppressive. "Dear friends, welcome to my aunt's house," Angel said enthusiastically to our group of friends. As the semi-host of the villa, she took the initiative to knock on the door of the villa. "Knock, knock, knock. Aunt, my friends and I are here." Angel knocked on the door of her aunt's house excitedly. Her aunt quickly opened the door and welcomed us warmly. Angel's aunt handed us a card. I thought it was a welcome card, but it turned out to be the rules of the villa. 1. After 12 o'clock at midnight, you cannot call each other by your real name. 2. Everyone must be in their rooms before 12 o'clock and lock the door. 3. If you hear someone knocking, walking, or calling after 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, do not respond to the person. Angel's aunt described the rules of the villa, and as guests we could only nod our heads in agreement. At the end of the narration of the rules, she emphasized, "The first door on the left downstairs must never be opened. Absolutely not." Looking at the serious expression on her face, we had no choice but to nod in agreement and promise not to open that door. After the aunt left the villa, we started assigning the rooms. There were 7 of us in total, 3 guys, Jack, Aaron, and Ralph, and 4 girls, Angel, Jessie, Ivy, and me. Looking at the villa with 5 rooms, we decided to share a room for 2 people. However, there was an extra guy, Jack, who took the initiative to ask for a room of his own. After we were assigned the room, it was already 8:30 p.m. After that, we felt a little hungry, so we gathered in the living room. "Hey, Angel, is there anything we can eat at your aunt's house?" Aaron said, while touching his round belly. Angel wasn't sure also, so we went to the kitchen to look for a snack or food. We found a few boxes of beer, snacks, and some instant noodles in the kitchen, and we enjoyed them in the living room. As time passed by, the time quickly reached 12 o'clock midnight. The effect of alcohol has made us forget the rules of the villa. A tipsy Jack suggested, "Let's play truth or dare." We all agreed with Jack's suggestion. As the game went on, this time it was Ivy's turn, and she lost. Ivy chose a big adventure. However, Ralph suggested, "Remember the room that the aunt mentioned? Let's see what's in that room." After Ralph finished his words, the light in the living room flickered for a moment. We dismissed it as an illusion and didn't pay much attention. But Ivy said, "Do you remember? Angel's aunt said that we shouldn't enter the room." Aaron touched his round belly and said provocatively, "Ivy, are you scared about it?" After Ivy went through her mental struggle, she decided to muster up the courage and walk towards the room. Just as she was about to open the door, clatter, there was a sound of footsteps running upstairs, and everyone present tacitly chose silence. However, Jessie broke the silence first. She motioned to Ivy to continue her big adventure. Ivy tried to open the door under everyone's gaze. Strange-shaped ornaments are arranged on the shelves one by one. When everyone took a closer look, what caught our eyes was a pair of human organ specimens soaked in formalin. We looked at Angel. Since this was her aunt's home, we didn't know what kind of reaction we should give while we noticed such strange items. Suddenly, the lights went dark and were accompanied by many people whispering. We felt scared and frightened. A sharp voice pierced through the silence, and the words revealed a cold and biting feeling. It kept repeating, "You broke the rules. You broke the rules." As we were preparing to escape the room frantically, bang! The door suddenly slammed shut. There were screams, panic, and confusion in our emotions. After an unknown period, the lights gradually came back on, and I realized that the neatly arranged specimens had been replaced with cute dolls. The eerie room was now cozy and comfortable. What was once a gloomy room is now a warm and comfortable room. I asked Jack, who was closest to me, discreetly, "Did the specimens disappear?" Jack looked at me with confusion and asked, "Specimens? What specimens?" I stared at Jack in disbelief and questioned others around me, but everyone looked at me as if they were looking at something strange. However, I noticed that there was one girl missing from our team. That was Ivy. I explained everything just now and mentioned Ivy, but my friends looked at me like I was a fool. Nobody remembered Ivy, as if Ivy had never been in this world. I started to pack my luggage and made a fuss about going home. Everyone was tormented by me that they had no choice but to agree to go back to their respective homes early in the morning. When we returned to our place, I decided to go to Ivy's house to confirm Ivy's whereabouts with her parents. However, Ivy seemed to have been forgotten by the world, as Ivy's parents claimed that they had no children and didn't even know me. I began to doubt myself. Was Ivy just a figment of my imagination? But if Ivy really doesn't exist, why did I know her parents? As time passed, I believe that Ivy's figure will gradually be erased from my memory. And I will be erased from everyone's memory like Ivy.